Yeah, so good morning everyone. I'm Nagy, developer advocate at Autodesk. So I'm supporting third-party developers who are using the Forge platform. In our industry, we've been through quite a few disruptions already. One of them was related to documents when we moved all the physical 2D drawings to the computers, which made it much easier. Yeah, so when we moved the physical 2D drawings to the computer, it made it much easier for anyone, to make changes in the design and also, track those changes. And then we had one disruption on the side of optimization. Maybe I should just actually. It is muted. I don't know. I'm hearing something in the background. Related to optimization. So once we had the 3D models on our desktop solutions, then we were able to do, analysis, simulation, basically test the model completely without even thinking about creating an actual physical prototype of the model. And now we're in the era of the connection part, where we are making sure that everyone will have access to the data that they need in order to work on their projects. So the way we are handling this is using the Forge platform, which is a set of web services that enables you to access to the functionalities that we can provide. The easiest thing to think about these is like Lego blocks. So you can just use the various components, whatever you need, in order to implement the workflow that you want, and then you can just put them together, and depending on which components you use, you can implement various different workflows. But you might ask, why we are doing it in the first place. So these are our founders back in 1982, and as you can imagine, during those 37 years of the company, we gathered loads of intellectual property. But the problem is that most of these were locked up in desktop solutions. So in order to take advantage of them, you had to either get our product on a CD, or nowadays you can download it, then install it, get a license for it so that you can use it, and you could only run it locally in order to take advantage of the functionalities that we provide. So now using Forge, these web services, we are exposing all this functionality and making it really easy for anyone to access them. And for example, one of the products that we have, the Beam 360 platform, which is for the construction industry, that as well is taking advantage of this Forge platform, so we are also using it obviously internally. So these are the various parts of the platform itself. Obviously it has an access control, so people will need to log in order to access the functionality. Big data platform, analysis, object storage, file storage, and so on. And then on top of that, we have the various products, including Beam 360 itself, which also provides the various things related to design collaboration, cost management, whatever is needed in the industry for our users. One of the problems were that the various stakeholders in the life cycle of a project were using different products, were using different file formats, so this created a disconnect between these various parts. So this is one of the things that we are tackling with Forge, because we are supporting more than 65 formats, and including competitors' file formats as well, so it's not just ours. And we provide translation functionality, getting access to the data inside these files, and also the ability to visualize these files in simply a web browser. So this is again just the same sort of overview of what we are doing. Here are the various parts who are working on the design, and we are creating a connected data environment for our users for this. And all our APIs are based on web standard technologies, as you can see, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the rest. So you can use it from any of the frameworks as well, including React, Angular, or Vue, whatever you prefer. And we are also using, for the viewing capability, using WebGL, which is again the standard for 3D visualization on the web. A couple of main areas to focus on. First of all is the functionality we provide is we are providing insight for our partners. And a couple of customer success stories in this area. First of all, JE Dunn. They are a big construction company who are using the Forge platform because this enables them to aggregate various data into a single application, which is again web accessible, so no one needs to install anything on their computers. Nothing needs to be there. You just open up a web browser, you log in to the website, and you will have access to the visual data for the building, what components are there, also fetching data from ERP systems or other databases that JEDAN has. In case of Google, similar, they are taking advantage of the translation functionalities and the viewing capabilities of Forge. So they have loads of various files related to the projects they are working on, and using Forge they will be able to visualize them. And then we have another architects and engineers company. Here they are using again the visualization functionality because they are looking after buildings, so they are concentrating on the full life cycle of a building, and they are making sure that their buildings are performing as well as they should. So as you can imagine, if you looked at all the various data coming from IoT devices related to temperature, humidity, and other data coming from these buildings, if you just looked at a spreadsheet, it would be really difficult to contextualize what's going on inside the building. But if you have a 3D model as well, which is representing the data for you, then you might be able to see, for example, that on one side of the building the rooms are much colder. Maybe you need more insulation on that side of the wall instead of just looking at a spreadsheet seeing room 1, 2, 3 are a bit colder. And also you can track the electricity consumption. There are thousands of companies already using Forge, and we have a couple of samples for this insights area as well. One of them is from MBS that they are working on. Again, it's aggregating data from multiple systems, so it enables people to see the models and also the various data attached to them in their systems. Just a quick overview of the main components which are available. So on the inside side, we have data management, model derivative, viewing capability, and automation side, and the Beam 360 product itself has an API as well that provides access to the data inside it. And what we can help with on the automation side. So previously our desktop solutions, they were only for the desktop. So now we made them available on the cloud as well, which enables people, if they are working with Revit, Inventor, AutoCAD, or 3ds Max models, to create them or automate the creation of the various families, various files, or just do various checks directly on the cloud, again without installing anything on their computers. So here's one of the samples. In this case, the company created a website which enables their employees to just log in there, specify the various components that a given building should have, and then based on that, using the various tools coming from Forge, including the Design Automation API, which enables you access to the Revit functionality that was previously only available on the desktop, to use it directly from there. And then based on the selections, it will automatically just generate the building with the various components that they will need. So it's a very good way to kickstart basically a project for the employees. And here another project where they were analyzing the various lighting conditions inside the buildings, so they could take advantage of Forge as well. So apart from the various parts that I already showed you, data management, model derivative, and viewing functionality, we actually also provide something called the Forge Toolkit, an AR/VR toolkit that enables you to take the models from Forge, the Forge platform, and then create or generate a Unity project directly from that they can take advantage of and then use it in their own solution. And a couple of samples that we created as well. I'm just checking how much time I have. So in this case, we are making it much easier for people, to collaborate. You can imagine there's someone using Inventor on the manufacturing side. They are designing a chair. It's a very simple sample, and they are using one of our storage solutions, including like Beam360 Docs. And then we also have a designer who is working on the building, on the architectural side, and they are taking advantage of the components done by the designer who was creating the chairs. And now, when the designer is updating the chair, we can automate the full process of creating a Revit family out of that Inventor model, then updating the chair directly inside the Revit model without anyone having to do anything. So there's a small video for that. I might try to skip through so that it gets a bit faster. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's a website as usual. So this is the Beam360 Docs management site. You can see the model that we have, the Revit model. It's very simple at the moment. It's just a table with chairs. And this is the original model that we had without the backrest on the chair. And when the designer is uploading a new model, you can take advantage of something called webhooks in the system. So you can listen to various events which are happening. If a customer or a user is uploading a new file version or deleting something or a translation finished, you can react to those events. So in this case, we will get the event that a new version of the Inventor file has been uploaded, and we know that this file is being used in the Revit model, so that we can just start the translation process to generate the new Revit family from it. And as you can see, the Revit model has been updated as well, so now you can have the chairs with the backrests. And you could also generate like a configurator directly on a website. It's similar to the previous example that I showed you, where selecting various options, Revit model was automatically generated for you. In this case, we are generating Revit families, which can be used in Revit projects. So again, just based on certain parameters that the user is providing, we will be able to take advantage of Forge to generate the actual model. So selecting various options. You're specifying where you want to generate the file. And as you can see, the Revit window family has been generated. Or there's something called like issues, where you can track if there are any problems on the construction site with a given building. And this is also accessible through the Beam360 API, so you can automate processes in this area as well. So for example, if a new model is uploaded to our system, we can start running a check if there are any collisions, any problems in the new model. And then based on that, we can auto-generate these issues in the Beam360 system. So again, I just speed it up a bit. So these issues, which are now shown in the viewer, has been created automatically without any user interaction, just based on triggering the event when the new model was uploaded. And again, just an overview of the components that we used. And Autodesk and blockchain. So there are a couple of partners who are looking into the blockchain technology and also in touch with us. that are working on exposing the Forge functionality outside the Forge framework using blockchain. One of the companies is Beamchain. You can find them beamchain.io if you're interested in what they are doing. So in this case, they are making sure that everyone is, working on the latest file inside the project. So when, for example, the architect is bringing up the project, she's making some changes to the model. Again, just speeding it up a bit. So that the roof was changed, it has been extended a bit. Now she has the ability to sign it, so that others will be able to verify that this is indeed the latest model that they are working on. And then when the structural engineer is looking at the same project, his project is dependent on the constructural project that was created previously and just signed. So he can make sure that he's working on the latest project. And then when he's signing his changes based on the architectural changes that were done before, then he will be able to prove that his changes were done based on that when he's signing the updated document. And again, using the Forge technology for the visualization part. So when you can even compare the changes, what happened between the various versions of the document. And the signing functionality is also available when you're, exporting the model to different formats, for example, IFC, or you generating PDF drawing out of the model. In each case, you can sign it, and then everyone will have access to the full history of the various files, so you can make sure that the PDF file is indeed based on the latest structural Revit file, and that structural Revit file is based on the latest architectural Revit file. Yeah, and in order to make this, really simple to use, they are creating Revit add-ins. So this functionality is directly available in our desktop solution. And these are the various places where you can find more information about Forge. And then one more thing I wanted to point out is that we are working with Construction Blockchain Consortium together to work on some blockchain implementation related to our BIM 360 application. So we'll see what that comes up. And again, these are the various places where you can find more information about Autodesk Forge. The main site is forge.autodesk.com, easy to remember. And we also have developer conferences and cloud accelerators where people can join us if they are interested in implementing something on top of this platform. Yeah, thank you.
So, questions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mohammed. So a lot of your focus was on automating the creation of Revit families. What's the difference between parametric design software like Dynamo and Forge? Or is it just a cloud-based version of Dynamo, at least in these specific features?
Well, actually, we're working on a cloud-based version of a Dynamo as well. But Revit itself is in a way parametric, right? So you can modify the various, you can parameterize the model and then modify those parameters to update the model. It's just not as complex as, for example, Dynamo in order to, create a visual representation of how the various parameters are interacting with each other.
Hi.
Hi there. I'm Anne-Marie. I'm a lawyer, just before I ask my really boring questions. But when I was listening to the first half of your presentation, I found that really interesting, and I was going to ask you a question about whether any of your clients had success pushing the Forge system through their supply chains and stakeholder networks who are working around their assets, because I think that's potentially quite complicated. And then I heard your vision for how you're using blockchain, and it was great to see the sort of collaborative BIM model coming to life. I guess I'm just going to flag something here, particularly if there's any contractors in the room, that if I was working on a BIM model like that, I'd be drawing a line through that single design responsibility clause if I was you. Really, that some of the liabilities there are going to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, so actually just simply using the Forge platform as well, you can reach out to contractors. I mean, you can provide a website, for example, where only the information they need would be accessible to them. Sounded a bit like a dream or something.
Maybe you should not speak with Sci-fi. Well, clear on our end.
Is it better now? Oh yeah, good. Yeah.
I love the vision. My question is, how easy is it going to be to make it a reality based on what how the industry actually works today? I think it's a really important challenge for everybody in this room.
Right, we'll find out.
It's not an easy question. Yeah. So.
Hi, Stephen Smith. My question is, on the example you showed at the end with Beamchain, could you explain a bit more as to what aspects of the blockchain were being used? You seem to be using it to verify the status of models or of files. Were you also using any smart contracts?
I think it is using smart contracts.
To sort of process the movement of the files through the work process.
I think it is. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I just contacted the partner related to this, but I can double check.